is our Euro 2020 special. We're absolutely delighted you could join us. Of course, all eyes on Scotland. 23 years of waiting, 8,392 days of pain, finally over, Roughie.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, the whole nation's getting right behind it now. It doesn't matter what you turn on the radio, turn on the telly. Kids at school, kids that have never witnessed these kind of occasions are enjoying every moment of it.
Yeah, you'll never believe it, Roughie. I was in JD Sports, not that they're a sponsor, I'm just telling you, I was in it yesterday. I've never seen so many people buying Scotland tops. There was parents, the queue was a mile long, and the girl at the counter said to me, do you know you're the first one that's not bought a Scotland top? I had one, which I've got for later on this week, but it was just incredible. Kids getting their parents to buy them the top. Everybody is into it.
Yeah, and it's good as well. As you said, they've waited so long, you know, but a lot of the schools are allowing the kids to actually watch the game, which I think is absolutely fantastic. I remember when I was at school, we were allowed to watch the big occasion games, you know, and it's just the excitement. It's the buzz that we've not had for a long, long time, and let's hope we're all buzzing after it.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, Rob, I have to pick up on that point. If you were at school and you were allowed to watch the 1958 World Cup...
No. The occasion I remember was Celtic, Champions League, 67.
Oh, so you were allowed to watch it?
Yeah, we're allowed to watch that. And I remember that game particularly, that everybody was off the streets. You know, the streets were all empty. And I think it will be the same today. I think if you're not a football person, you'll see a very eerie situation wherever you're living, because I think everybody will be actually on the telly watching this game.
Well, listen, if you've got a prediction for the big match, by all means, post it on our Facebook page. We're on live on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and we're on, of course, our PLZ Soccer YouTube channel, which I can tell you we'll be exclusively live on YouTube for the new season, only on YouTube, so don't forget to subscribe to that. Of course, there's one man who's a vital part of our team throughout the Scotland campaign at the Euros, and that's Gabriel Antoniazzi. He's out there with a brilliant backdrop. Gabriel, it doesn't get any better for you. You're going to the match. You can see Hampden behind you there, and the whole place must be buzzing.
Yep, it certainly is, Peter. The first men's international tournament in 23 years. The first that I can ever remember. I was only 1 year old back in World Cup 1998. So it's just been an amazing few months building up to it. And today is the day, the 14th of June, the day people of my generation and all Scots across the country, any generation, will not forget. A huge day for all of the players. Of course, none of them have played in an international tournament before. So many questions to ask. How will they play? Who will line up? What will the score be? It's too many to comprehend at the moment. I've got to confess myself, I haven't really been allowing myself to think about the game because I just get too emotional. I don't know if I'll be able to get any words of the national anthem out when I'm inside. I was at the Women's World Cup 2 years ago and I was just floods of tears. So I'm expecting the same again today, but I was down earlier. I was doing a piece and there were plenty of people milling about. There's staggered entry. It's quite complicated, of course, with the COVID situation. 12,000 fans here at Hampden Park, and I can tell you, I'm pretty sure it's 12,000 Scots.
Yeah, I'm amazed. Gabriel saying that he could get quite emotional at the national anthem, Roughie. The tears might flow. I don't know about you. What were you like when you heard the national anthem? First of all, did you sing it? Second of all, did you get the hairs in the back of the neck?
Yeah, very proud. You know, it is a moment, and particularly, we keep going back to, it isn't going to be a capacity crowd. I think that made it, you know, because everybody else joined in with the national anthem. And you were always facing the main stand where your parents were and all your relatives, and that song does get to you. I think now, most of the players will be singing that song. There was a time when a lot of them probably didn't know the words of it, but I think now, they're all very, very passionate, and I think it will be, I don't know if they'll go with the bagpipes or whether they'll go with a single singer or a group or whatever, but let's hope they hit the right note.
Yeah, the one sure thing I can tell you, Roughie, is if they are going with a singer, he will have had to have taken quite a few tests to make sure he's COVID-free. This is the one thing about this whole tournament now. At least we're getting fans in.
Yeah, I think the fans are in for a bit of experience today. We're hearing about all the COVID check-in and everything, and let's hope it's a good situation for them and it doesn't spoil the game for them. I think they all know, they expect when they go there today, it's going to be very tight, you know. the seating area and everything. But I'm sure they'll give it everything, and it'll be a wonderful occasion.
Yeah, can't wait for it. Just having fans in will be a major bonus. And of course, Steve Clarke himself has mentioned that it's a real bonus to see at least some of the Tartan Army in there to offer their support.
No, I think the players are really looking forward to having supporters back in the stadium. We've had a little taste of it when we went to Israel, played in front of a crowd. It was good to have an atmosphere in the stadium. It's been a long time since we had supporters in at Hampden Park, so should make for a great atmosphere and hopefully a great game with a good result for us as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the mere fact that you're walking out and you can hear some sort of noise as well. You'll hear the roar. It maybe not as big as it once was. I mean, I don't know, what was the biggest crowd you played at home in front of, Roughie?
I think it was a Scotland-England game. I think it was 93,000, something like that. That's when the old stand was there before it was all changed. But walking down these steps is just an incredible feeling, because the old Hampden, you come out of the dressing room and you walk down the steps, you couldn't see anything, and then you came to a level playing field, and then it's all in front of you. It's just the yellow flags and everything and the singing, and you know, I'm sure the players will be lifted. I know there's not a lot there, but they'll be lifted by it. They have to be. But it's the jersey for me. It's pulling on that jersey with the badge and everything that goes with it that just gets to you.
Yeah, Gabriel, I've got to ask you, I mean, the fans will be in there. There's been a few who've had to actually put out a fair bit of money to get their hands on some of the tickets. What's it been like there? It's also quite a rigorous process to get into Hampden, Gabriel.
Yep, so when you receive your ticket, now it could be a paper ticket or an electronic ticket, that's the first time that UEFA have introduced that to a major tournament. The ticket will give you an entry time. So for example, a few of my friends' entry time is 11:30 to 12 o'clock. 2 hours before kickoff, whereas the entry time I have is 1 until 1:30. Now, you don't have to go in at this time, but it's advised so that you can have the staggered entry and that it won't be clogging up and too many people in one space. You get given a specific entrance. There's one on Aikenhead Road, one at the main entrance, and then round the other side as well. Ticket prices, they're going up. The original ticket prices from UEFA are around £55 to £100 from Category 3 to Category 1. A few people I know managed to get their hands on tickets on the last few days on resale for about 150 quid, but I heard of someone buying yesterday for £500. That's what you're paying for a quarter full Hampden Park. But if you've not seen Scotland play in 23 years, that's what you might pay. But I tell you, people are already paying closer to £1,000 for that Wembley match on Friday. But all focus here at the moment is on the Czech Republic. A little bit of a stat for you. Scotland's last 5 opening games at major tournaments for the men's team, they haven't won any of them, and they've only scored 1 goal. Of course, John Collins with his penalty against Brazil. So we'll be hoping for more than a goal and more than just a draw or a loss today. A victory is what Steve Clarke and his men want, and they believe they can get it.
Yeah, well done, Gabs. You put us on a downer there. only 1 goal, and we haven't won our opening 5 games at the major championships. Just when I was feeling a bit of enthusiasm there, Roughie.
Yeah, I heard somebody else talking about the manager's stats, and we're seemingly he's got a 60% win. I'm just wondering who we've been playing that we don't know about, because most of the games we've played have been draws or wee narrow wins or whatever. But no, I think we've got to be positive. I've got to. And you're going to be talking about team selection later on. I just hope it's a really positive team selection he picks today.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to read out a few here. Gordon McCallum says, just Monda Scotland, it's as simple as that. These boys must seize their moment, says Kevin Livingston. I think, Kevin, that's the message that I think Steve Clarke has been reiterating time and time again. They've waited too long for this chance. Let's give it everything to win. I agree with you there. Kevin's in Australia. Can't wait till it starts. Come on, Scotland. Kevin, great that you could join us as well. Flo Thompson, also Tommy Gray, Stephen McVeigh is there, and Sean Mitchell, William Webb, from all the Scotland fans in Australia. Play hard and win. William, I think we all echo your sentiments. Alison, Sarah Carroll, Fiona Docherty, so many people. Martin Miller says, I would remortgage my house for a ticket to be with the 12,000 fans. Can't wait to hear them, man. Been a tough year. And of course, I think he's saying that it's been a long 23 years. Of course, I hate to say this, Roughie, you know, and you were part of it. When I was growing up, I actually thought Scotland qualified for everything.
Yeah, right from 74 all the way through, you know, but I think the biggest thing is players, and the players, our modern players now, are back to where we were. They're all playing top-class English football, or playing abroad or whatever, you know, and that was the success we had. They were all playing with Man United, they were all playing with Liverpool, they were all playing with the top clubs, and I think we're getting there. I think a lot of them are still young. It might be, I hope it's this tournament, but it might be the next one that's maybe a couple of years away that we'll see, you know, everything from obviously this positive campaign. But I think the camp will be absolutely buzzing. I don't think we're all over the place with team selection, and I think the players will turn up.
Yeah, we're going to get into the meat and bones of it very shortly, although I can tell you that there are games that obviously have implications for Scotland. One of them was yesterday, England in our group, that 1-0 win over Croatia. And of course, Raheem Sterling, when he scores, England win, he got the all-important goal. I'll tell you, Roughie, England looked good for 20 minutes and then they kind of faded a wee bit and then got control back in the game. We all know they're going to be formidable. I think everybody would like to emphasise taking care of this game first. If we can get on a high of a win, then England takes care of itself.
Yeah, well, any finals that I went to, you know, it was always put upon us to win the first game. If you win the first game, everybody's on board for the next game. Everybody, the players, the media, the fans, and everybody are really looking forward to it. If you have a negative result, then everybody's on a wee bit of a downer. The manager's got to pick all the players up and everything. And now it's more important with this one because even the third best team, you know, get a chance to promote. So you've got 3 points in the bag. You know, that could be nearly a good, obviously depending on the other two results, to get you into the final stages. So I think that's why this game for me is really, really important that we try and get a win.
Yeah, Alison says she's actually got her Scotland shirt on. I mean, you don't have to paint the picture, Roughie. Although people can't get to the match, a lot of people, a lot of Tartan Army, you know, we've got people listening and watching the programme in Australia. We've got people closer to home like Alison and, of course, Gordon saying, come on, Scotland. They'll be sitting there. Some will be having a drink. It's a wee bit early for me, I have to say, Roughie. They'll be having a drink. They'll be sitting on the edge of their seat. Now, I'm not going to bring up past games with failures on them, but you know, you're on the edge of your seat for everything. It's always nervy with Scotland. World Cups, you've had good results and you've had bad results.
Yeah, and as a player, you know, you appreciate, you know, what's going on back home, and that's why you want to be successful and you want to win the games. And I've been there and I've seen the disappointment in the fans who pay good money to travel about and see the country. And for them, you feel for them. But I think this time, you know, obviously the fan zone in Glasgow will be absolutely fantastic. Anybody got a ticket for that will be superb. And I think that's what fan zone, what it's all about. It's seen, if you look at all the big tournaments, you see the fans celebrating, whether even the fans that win World Cups and win Euros. I mean, the celebrations are absolutely great, and it lifts everybody. Yeah. It lifts the whole country.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking here. Robert says, come on, the Tartan Army. Gary Murray says, part of me feels bad. I'm taking my 3-year-old son to nursery just shortly, but will be in the house on my own with the tunes and a TV full blast from the back of one up to the kick-off. That's the other thing. I feel for Gary. He's on his own. There's nothing worse. Gary, if I could invite you round to my house, I would, but there's no chance.
Well, let's hope Gary remembers to go and get his kid out of the nursery.
yeah, make sure you pick him up, Gary. John Palocca says, all the best to everyone today. Proud as punch. A win today would be brilliant. I've taken holidays for all the Scotland games here in Washington, so come on, Scotland. John, absolutely delighted you could join us from Washington. Scots all over the world ready. I mean, there'll be a big build-up. We're on here till 1 o'clock, and then, of course, I think the good thing is we can all sit by the telly. You can pick your own commentator these days. You can pick the build-up as well. I think the key issue here is to get that feeling closer to the kick-off, that there is hope. We've got a good side. I think for the first time in a long time, Roughie, we've got some top-drawer players in the squad.
Yeah, I think we've got an attacking side. I think we've got players, particularly in midfield, that can go forward and hurt people round about the 18-yard box. We've got a striker, if you give him the proper supply into the box, which we should from the wide areas, you know, should be on the end of a few things. I think the first 15-20 minutes is important. we've got to they're going to be nervous as well. This is a home game for us. You know, most of the supporters will be Scottish. You know, I think it's important that we go about our business and let them know that they're going to be in a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, of course, experience is key in this affair, and Steve Clarke's been mentioning the fact that this time around, not only does he have experience in his backroom staff, but he's mentioned the players who are playing top-flight football.
One of my assistants, Stephen Reid, went to the World Cup with his country, so he has some experience. He'll be able to share that with the players. We've also got a lot of big game players. Andy Robertson's played in World Championships. He's won the Champions League. Billy Gilmore was involved with Chelsea a couple of weeks ago in the Champions League. Scott McTominay played in a European final. I've coached a team in the final of the Champions League myself. We understand big games, big moments. Big games are for big players, and we believe we've got enough big players to handle the occasion.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve Clarke there, just mentioning a number of the players, not only his backroom staff, but when you look at it, Billy Gilmore's young. We'll talk about whether you think he's going to make it into the starting 11, Roughie, but he's still got that experience, looks totally unfazed at his age playing international football. You've got Callum McGregor, it's his birthday today. He's played Champions League football. Kieran Tierney playing for Arsenal. And let's not forget, Andy Robertson's a Champions League winner.
Yeah, and it's a fair point. And they're playing, not just playing with better players in the team, they're coming up against better players. They're coming up against players that they're going to be playing in these competitions. And if you can go into these games and knowing that you can compete with them, it gives you confidence. And that's what you're hoping today, that the most of these young players will feel the confidence that they're coming up against players that they're playing against week in, week out.
Yeah, here's a big problem, Roughie. Somebody sent me this, and it's a worry. Tim Main, who's in Toronto, says, I don't think I can fit into my Scotland shirt anymore. Tim, breathe in, cut the bit that's hurting you, but make sure you keep the badge and you'll be fine. It's okay. I'm feeling really positive, Fiona says. And I think Norman Peacock has mentioned something that we're going to talk about just shortly. I'll mention it in a second. I want to go back to Gabriel. Gabriel, you've been following Scotland, you've been following the Premier League for us in PLZ Soccer. You are now in that generation who's now looking at players who are indeed playing at the top level, who have that experience that we'll be relying on. And I think we've got a few threats in that Scotland side, especially down the left flank.
Yeah, everyone knows about the left-hand side of our team. That's where our strength is. Kieran has probably been the standout Scotland player for the last 6 months. You remember that game against the Faroe Islands behind me? He got 3 assists from centre-half in a 4-0 victory. Andy Robertson, Peter, you spoke to him 2 weeks ago, Champions League winner, Premier League winner. He's the captain. We've got Ryan Christie, who likes to drift off to the left as well. John McGinn, another left-footer. We've got so many left-footers in the team. McGinn will be playing in that number 10 position today, pushing forward. And that's where our real strength lies, I do feel. Another one that is a bit of a concern is the lack of striking options. That was the big concern when Steve Clarke came in. But who would have said when Clarke came in July 2019 that his front three, well, the 3 strikers he's taken in his 26-man squad would be Kevin Nisbet of Hibs, Shea Adams of Southampton, and Lyndon Dykes of Queen's Park Rangers. No one would have thought that we could have added that firepower. Lee Griffiths, of course, hasn't made it, but Shea Adams gives us something different. He's only played 4 games in Scotland. He scored 2 goals, but I just feel like if he gets a chance, he will score. He had a really good season for Southampton. The question is, does he start with Lyndon Dykes up front, or is it Christie that partners him? We'll get more into that later. But it's Dykes and Adams who lead the betting markets for the opening goal scorer. Dykes is 6-1 to score first, but Adams is 5-1, and Scotland themselves are favourites at 13-8. A draw, or Czech Republic, both 2-1. So the bookies are fancying Scotland. So are we. Let's just hope they go out and win now.
Yeah, absolutely. The bookies fancy Scotland. Gavs has just mentioned. 6-1 for Dykes to score, 5-1 for Shea Adams. Would you take a bit of that, or do you think it's going to come from someone that maybe not everybody's thinking about?
I think this game, it could be a midfielder. I would like to see it's one of the strikers, because that means we're putting quality balls into the box. We saw what the 2 of them can do together. But again, we don't, at this moment in time, we don't know if the 2 of them are going to be playing together. I think the 2 big decisions for me is it 2 up front, or is it 1 and somebody playing off them? And who are the 3 at the back going to be? I think we know who the 2 are going to be, but I think it's important, we get that right as well. I think the midfield picks itself.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at Gabs's Scotland predicted formation and starting 11. There you can see it. Marshall, Hendry, Hanley, Tierney is what Gabs has put down there. O'Donnell and Robertson on the flanks. McTominay, McGregor, McGinn, and then Dykes and Christie. So Dykes and Christie, there's two elements of what Gabs has put in there that maybe I think are not going to be what I would look towards Roughie. I think he's going to pick Hanley in the back three, and I also think he's going to go with Adams and Dykes up front. The midfield for me, as you say, picks itself. I think Billy Gilmore may well have a role, but I think it's from the bench.
No, I think if Billy Gilmore had played in the last two games, particularly against Luxembourg, if he got the 90 minutes there, I think he would have been the manager's thoughts, but that wasn't the case. So I agree with you. I think he'll make some kind of part in the game. If it was the two up front, I mean, Adams does not play as a striker. He can play wide, he can go air. He could be that guy who's just playing off Dykes rather than Christie. And I would rather see Adams playing because I think he's got more goals in him than Christie. The midfield, I don't have a problem with at all. I think Hanley's a favourite. I think he's a favourite in the manager. I think he'll stick with him. And I think he's been impressed by Henry. And I think when he's at the back, he's solid and he likes to get forward, and he scored that goal. So, I don't think he's got that much a headache to pick for. And I'm glad he's picking Marshall as well.
Yeah.
Because I think Marshall deserves to get picked because he's the main man who got us there.
Well, still got to get confirmation on that, Roughie. Although, I don't know, I've got a sneaky feeling. I don't know. I mean, he's loyal. That's the key, Gabs. I think we're talking about loyalty, Steve Clarke. He does stick with the people who got him there, which, maybe Declan Gallagher will feel slightly, unhappy that he might not get a starting. I can't see him going with him. I just think he's going to look at Cooper, Premier League experience, Tierney in there, and then Hanley. But you seem to think he might opt for Henry, and you're swaying towards Christie?
Yeah, well, as you say, Peter, they are the two big decisions. Who plays as that third centre-half and who plays as the second striker? Now, just going back to what you're saying, Hanley, we're all fairly certain Hanley will start. It's just, is he the centre-half or playing right centre-half? Now, if I can just take us back about a year ago, we saw Scott McTominay playing on the right-hand side of central defence. Now, I spoke to Steve Clarke about that several times. Why is he in there? He plays in central midfield for Manchester United, and it's because of his distribution with the ball. When we want to be on the front foot, he wants it passing it forward, and what McTominay can do is zip it into the striker's feet that perhaps Gallagher or Hanley can't do as well. They're more perhaps on the defensive side of the game and being able to play in behind but not necessarily into the striker's feet, and that's what Jack Hendry gives you. He can get it out. He likes to have the ball at his feet. He likes to pass it. So the question is, does he go with Hendry and perhaps a more attacking lineup here, whereas I'm fairly certain down at Wembley he will play Hanley as the right-hand defender because it's going to be backs to the wall. But we saw what an impact a Leeds United player can have yesterday. Calvin Phillips was my man of the match. I thought he was brilliant for England. Perhaps Liam Cooper could have the same impact for Scotland. He is the captain of Marcelo Bielsa's men, so we'll have to wait and see what he does there. In terms of up front, I've gone for Christie, but I do also think he may go for Adams and Dykes. They worked well together against Luxembourg, Dykes creating Adams' goal. I think he'll definitely play Christie at Wembley because he can drop in and become that fourth midfielder better than Adams can. But as Roughie says, Adams runs about, he does drift wide. He's not necessarily an orthodox number 9, so it'll be an interesting call. Billy Gilmore, I'm sure, will play apart from the bench. Kevin Nisbet, Ryan Fraser, you've got James Fogarty, who come on as a wing-back. Nathan Patterson, they're both attacking, more attack-minded than Stephen O'Donnell. So plenty of decisions, but it's just fantastic. It's what I've dreamed of in my entire life, discussing who will be playing for Scotland in a major tournament instead of talking about Germany and France and Spain. So it's just so exciting. We are about 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes away from the lineups. I can't wait.
Gabs, I think you might be about to spontaneously combust, such as your excitement for this game to kick off. I've got to ask you, what year were you born, Gabs?
1997. Oh. 1997.
So Gabriel was 1 when Scotland played at the World Cup. So there was no memory of Craig Brown saying, "God, that makes me feel old, Roughie." But nevertheless, I mean, he's excited about picking the team because that's what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, he said there, wouldn't it be great, you know, a Liam Cooper, a Leeds United connection, and I'm thinking to myself, as soon as he mentioned Leeds United, the only guy I could think of for us, no disrespect to Gary McAllister, was Billy Bremner.
Yeah, and there was a few at Leeds United at that time, you know, that played Lorimer as well, and Joe was obviously at Leeds as well, and Big Gordon was at Leeds as well. Yeah, I think anybody gets picked. I think that's the good thing about it. Even when we eventually hear the 11, I don't think we'll be, you know, extremely disappointed if somebody's not left out. If they are left out, because whoever is left out, the person that's coming in is just as good. That shows you the strength and depth of the squad. And that's a positive thing for the manager. But as long as we're big players, I think we're big players are McGinn and McTominay. You know, they're the ones that are going to be pulling the strings, and obviously Robertson getting forward in there. And I'd like to think we're going to be watching a game where we can pin somebody back. You know, put them under pressure, make them defend properly. You know, because we don't. My problem is I don't think we've seen this Czech team, the real team. The times we played it, obviously COVID kicked in over there when they had to play a second team. When they come over here, they still had COVID. A lot of their big players never travelled. So I don't think we've saw the real deal yet, but I think the results we've had against them will give the players some kind of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, there's a lot of people here sitting in my room excited, says Niall Kane. Niall, great to have you back with us. So many people supporting us. John Higgins, great to see you all back in this new studio. We're in a new studio, Roughie. It looks fantastic.
That's fantastic. And all the paintings are... Oh, there isn't any paintings.
No,
so they're all...
they're coming,
The chap in Australia will be more than happy.
Oh,
he'll be more than happy. No paintings or Swinton, everything.
Yeah, Jim, they miss your pictures, Roughie. Jim Torrance, all the best to the Scotland team today. Anne-Marie Lynch says, so looking forward to this game. Come on, Scotland. I think everybody glad to see you guys back at it. Thanks to James Docherty for that. There are so many people posting messages. Hugh Scott says, McGinn to score for us to win 1-0. Yeah, I mean, everybody's offering it. Hugh Scott has also mentioned David Harvey. There's another name, Roughie. He was one of your teammates.
Yeah, he certainly was. I took over for David Harvey. I got my first cap, believe it or not, because David Harvey never turned up for the game against Switzerland. He worked in a farm, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And he had some kind of virus in his animals down there, so he couldn't travel for the game, so I got my first cap.
Well, there you are, 53 caps. Yeah. Magnificent, Roughie. As far as the Scotland lineup, we're going to look at the Czech Republic in a moment, but just on that Scotland lineup, Roughie, you and I were down at Wembley when we lost 3-0. Gordon Strachan was the manager, and I always felt at that time that if anything, our back line wasn't sorted out. We didn't have a solid 3 or a 4 that we thought to ourselves that could stop the crosses coming in and keep it tight and keep a clean sheet. Are you filled with a greater confidence now?
But that shows you how much things have changed, because Gordon Strachan would have never have played a 3. Because he'd never been confident in playing a 3. He was never confident in playing a 4. Yeah. So that just shows you how much we've progressed. We've got Tierney in there, who won't be troubled if he's drawn wide, you know, because he's a full-back, really. If he has to go out there, it won't be a problem. Big boy Hanley, if it is Hanley, will go and win balls in the air, and distribution is okay. We're not. This is not going to be. We're not coming up against a bombardment here. This team are going to try and play through us, and if you've got comfortable people at the back who can read the game, that'll be the strength, you know. And we'll just have to wait and see how the game actually progresses. But no, I think we're quite confident. Yeah.
Thanks to everyone for posting messages. If you are at your home, the build-up continues here in PLZ Soccer. We'll be following Scotland right across the board. You can click through and subscribe on our YouTube channel, because that's where we're going to be for the new season, entirely on YouTube. You can still get all the latest news on Facebook and Twitter as well. And incidentally, one of our sponsors, Fandex, if you go onto our Facebook page, you'll see Gabs explaining the chance to play our free game where you can win cash prizes. It's a stock exchange football game with Fandex, and all you have to do is click on it and you can find out how to buy the shares for your favourite team. It's absolutely free, doesn't cost you a penny, just a bit of fun. To play who you think is going to perform better at the Euros. Pick your favourite team, And if you buy low and they start winning games, then your share price goes up and you will be in with a real chance of winning some good money in the game. So good luck with that. We are now looking at the Czech Republic side. Lots of people here may be feeling confident about Scotland. Is their confidence unfounded when you consider that Gabs has picked the predicted 11 for the Czech Republic? Let's have a look at it, Roughie. Vaclik in goal, Kufal, Saliska, Kalas and Borrell, Souček, Kral, Masopust, Darida, Yankto and Schick. Now, dare I say it, I don't think we need to get too much of an insight into Thomas Souček because he's been performing brilliantly for West Ham. Scored 13 goals last season, Roughie. He's been absolutely magnificent. You've got Patrick Schick, plays for Bayer Leverkusen in the Bundesliga, and Yankto of Sampdoria is creative, along with, of course, Darida, who is the playmaker for them. They've got good players.
But that's my biggest problem, as I said there a couple of minutes ago. A lot of these big players have never played against us. You know, they missed out because of COVID. It's going to be a new thing for the Scottish team. They're the same as us. You know, they're all playing in top leagues. They're all playing against really, really good quality players. So they're going to be feeling confident as well. But again, I think we look at these teams far too much and in depth because it's all about us. If we turn up and all our big players play, you know, I think we've got strength and depth. But they are a good side. I think we were all taken a bit surprised with the 4-0 defeat against Italy. But they bounced back, obviously, against Albania. So it's going to be a tough game. I can't see a lot of goals in it. And let's hope it's us that score one more than them.
Yeah, I'm just thinking their coach, Yaroslav Šilhavý, likes to play a pressing game. He's going to play a 4-2-3-1 with Schick up there as you know, the main man to try and get as the target man. They do like their fullbacks to bomb on as well, Roughie. So suddenly you could have a situation, and Andy Robertson's more than equipped for it. And I think Stephen O'Donnell sometimes gets the rough end of the stick, but they'll be going back the way at times as well, trying to make sure their fullbacks don't get down the flanks.
No, I think that's obviously something they'll be working on, you know, in the fortnight they've been together. And let's hope that isn't the case. Let's hope they are going forward rather than back the way, because that's where their strengths are. Yeah, but you're right, these players are quality players and you have to be top of your game, you know, to compete with them.
Yeah, I've got to give a mention to more than a few people who have obviously just posted a few messages on our Facebook feed, and thanks to them all. Thanks to Kathy Conahan, as well as Graham Thompson. 2-0 sets us nicely up for Friday. Yep, I hope that's the case. John Gwynn says, come on Scotland, 2-0 today. It seems to be a popular scoreline for everyone. Linda Bell as well joining us on the programme. And I think Billy and Margot cheering on the boys from our bed this fine Monday morning in South Carolina. Well done, Billy, lying in bed with his wife.
Well, hopefully.
Well done, Billy. You're there. I mean, what a place to watch Scotland playing. Brilliant.
Yeah, as you say, the Pats all over the world will be really enthused with this, and they'll be as eager as what we are, and let's hope they're celebrating the same as us.
Yeah, Stephen Netherton says, let's all boogie. Of course, yes, sir, I can boogie. If you'd said to me, Roughie, I mean, there's been a few rank rotten Scotland tunes over the period. There's been a few crackers. We Have a Dream was brilliant. That was the Scotland song from '82. I just thought I'd remind you, Roughie, since you were absolutely plastered on top of the Pops singing it. But this one, Yes, Sir, I Can Boogie, Baccarat, the two girls who sang it. I never thought that was going to be one of those anthems that everybody was going to latch onto.
I thought we should have latched onto it a lot bigger than what we have. You know, I think we should be singing it for the rooftops because it's such a catchy song. And Scotland have always been, you know, the games for the supporters when it's half time. With the guys that tuned the Fratellis and that all come out, and Runrig in particular. You know, no, I think somebody should have caught on to that. Gabriel,
I know you'll be looking at the Czech Republic side that you've picked there. I agree with you. I think that's going to be the strongest side. I think they're definitely going to go with as near to that 11 as possible. They've got some danger men in there. We've got to make sure we keep it tight. I think the midfield could be the key area because Hugh Scott, one of our viewers, mentioned that he fears the likes of Thomas Souček.
Yeah, it's the spine of the Czech team that is their greatest strength. You've got Soufal and Souček, both coming from West Ham United on the back of a fantastic season with David Moyes' men. Alex Kral as well. Keep an eye out for the David Luiz lookalike in the middle of the park. He played here last year. He was probably the best player on the park, even though the Czechs were beaten 1-0. Roughie keeps saying, referring back to the victory we had over in Olomouc, I think it was, in the Czech Republic, when we were playing essentially their seaside. It was a 2-1 victory. Scotland weren't great on the day, managed to squeeze over the line. But back here, scored early, Ryan Fraser in the 6th minute, and then held on. The Czechs were quite impressive that day, but they just couldn't find the back of the net, and they sometimes struggle with that as well. Patrick Schick up front didn't start at Hampden that day, but he is an impressive player. He's big, but he's quite quick as well. Watch out for that left foot. He's got a great strike on him. Slavia Prague and Sparta Prague, two teams that Celtic and Rangers fans will know too much about this season, have a core in this team. Plenty of the players that are in the starting 11 have come through both of those academies. You've got Jan Borrell playing left back. But in the centre of defence, whoever does play, whether it's Salushka or Thomas Kalas from Bristol City, it won't be Andre Kudela, of course, banned for his racist abuse of Glenn Kamara over on the other side of Glasgow back in March. Now, he is their best centre-half, so there is a weakness there that can be exploited. I think that will be in Steve Clarke's mind when he considers playing two up front. One thing to look out for, though, is the Czechs from set pieces. They're a big side. Schick, Souček, amongst others, and 53% of their goals in qualifying, that's 7 out of 13, were scored from set pieces. So we need to keep an eye out for that. Will that come into Steve Clarke's thinking again? Perhaps that could be Hendry going out and Hanley coming as the right centre-half because he loves the ball in the air. We'll have to wait and see. But Scotland, as I said, are favourites here. Czech Republic love this competition, won it back in '76 as Czechoslovakia. They've made the last 7 tournaments, but they haven't been too impressive in the last couple. And we'll hope that they finish last in the group this time round.
Yeah, well done to Gabs for mentioning the '76 Czechoslovakia side that won the European Championships. Of course, you know, that's where the fabulous Panenka penalty against Sepp Maier of Germany, of all West Germany as they were then, Roughie. So it's a long time ago, but they have that sense of what it's like to be at, you know, a major tournament. They've played at major tournaments. They've done well at major tournaments. We, on the other hand, in 10 attempts, Roughie, haven't been able to get out of the group stage. I don't know about you, and I'm not getting overly enthusiastic, but I've got a really good feeling that we can get out of this group.
Yeah, I've got a good feeling as well. I think we've proved that we're going to be hard to beat. I think all we've got to do now is prove that we can win games. We've had a lot of draws. We've had a lot of good competitive draws against good teams. Let's prove to everybody that we can go and play good teams and beat them. Because winning games now, it's okay, the draws and the group stages and that, but now we're in the big time, and this is when you've got to win games.
Roughie, I'm going to give as many people a mention as I possibly can. It's easier to do it on the phone. I can see the feed coming in. Kathy Cunningham, great to have you guys back, and I love the new studio. And who knows, Roughie, should we have a competition in the new season where we get a few people into the studio to watch the show? Is that a good idea?
Oh, I think that'd be fantastic. I'm sure they'd love to come in here and see this. It's brilliant.
Yep, absolutely. Great to see you guys back, says Jim Ross. Glad we're playing an attacking team. Let's hope that's the case, Jim. Frank Ingalls says, I've been waiting 64 years for Scotland to get by the first round. Maybe, just maybe, we'll do it this time. Hi to Ronnie Chapman as well. Hi, Ronnie. William Webb. And Ronnie McIntyre says, Lyndon Dykes will worry them big time. I fancy a big performance from him today. Boy, I hope that you are right. And let's show no fear, says Gordon McFadgen. Yeah, I think that's the key to all this. If I have missed you out in some of the mentions, if you are far away from these Scottish shores, Peter Muir Ramsey says, come on Scotland. Everybody wanting to start with the 3 points, and that's certainly what we want. We don't want a draw, we want a 3-point win, and then straight into England, batter them, and then onwards, Raphael. Oh, got you excited there. Can you imagine? There's a man you've sampled beating England.
Yeah, I don't like to be big-headed in this,
but you will.
I am the only goalkeeper that's had 2 back-to-back wins at Wembley. Since the war, I think it is. We won 2-1 in 1977, and then we beat them 1-0. With John Robertson penalty, so it can be done. You know, we know they're a good side, but let's get this one out the road first.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, the whole nation is going crazy at the moment on the edge. Some people will be having a bevy, no surprise. One of them won't be the First Minister. I can tell you she has tweeted out a lovely message just offering full support to Steve Clarke and the boys, which I think is fantastic. Just wishing the players all the very best back on the big stage. So nice to hear the First Minister giving her support. Craig Brown thinks we can win it. I love Craig. If I'm optimistic, Craig is super optimistic. Great to see our former Scotland manager well after that heart scare, and it was just great seeing him on the programme. It was a great programme on the BBC with him.
Yeah, it was fantastic. You know, that always very, very positive as far as Scotland's concerned. I think he's a master. Let's say he can bring up all these stats that nobody ever knows. You know, populations and everything. And no, I'm sure. I don't think we should get carried away. I've heard this before, that we're going to win a tournament and it doesn't happen, and it puts everybody on the back foot. So let's just hope we get a positive campaign.
Roughie, there's one guy I'd love to be with today to watch the game. I mean, there's some people that you like, you'll probably watch it with your family. Some people like to watch the game with their friends. I'd love to be with Bob Kelly. I don't know Bob, but I'd love to be with him, Roughie. 30 degrees here in Benidorm, just heading to the pub for a beer. Come on, Scotland. And that is exactly what I'd like to. It'd be great watching it, but our weather's not too bad to watch this game. And of course, Gabriel, the fans, 12,000 that we've spoken about. Obviously, you've got a ticket for the game. We're delighted that right now you haven't been arrested for sitting in someone's back garden without any without any clearance. You've done well to get a good view there, Gabriel.
Yeah, I came down last night after the PLZ 11-a-side match. We won't mention what the score was, but I had to come down because there's the massive silver ringed fence all the way around Hampden Park that we've not seen the likes of ever before, because it's a UEFA.
Yeah, I'll get back to Gabriel in just a second. Hopefully we'll come back and see. We just knocked out there. He did mention the PLZ. We played the BBC yesterday, Roughie. I'm not happy about it. I mean, honestly, Gabriel doesn't want to talk about it, but it was supposed to be staff. Yeah. And suddenly they had 6 under-19 professional footballers in their side that they'd never seen the BBC, never been at the BBC, didn't even know who the BBC were, but they drafted them in. I wasn't happy about it.
Yeah, the ringer's the word. You know, I think that's it. You know, that you would have thought it would just been a level playing field, but when you start bringing in professional players, then you're obviously going to be up against. But you held your own for, what, 45 minutes? Yeah,
we played really well, actually. I could have had Naisy. I could have had Charlie Adam, Darren Jackson, Tam McManus in there, but we decided to play fair. Got the backroom staff, everybody was playing, thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, we get battered in the second half over my Roughie. I nearly actually thought to myself, I'm going to chuck it. Can't play football at 56, but I'm still going to go. I'm going to play till I'm rank rotten, Roughie. I'm only rotten at the moment.
Right, okay, well that'll be in a week.
Yeah, probably another week. Gabriel, are you happy with your performance overall? We had the Scotland tops on as well. I thought you might have got a goal.
Oh, no, I was absolutely shocking. I think I took 5 corners and only beat the first man once. Oh, it was a bad... Well, you know what it's like? We're playing against the BBC, so I'm expecting, right, I'll be the youngest player there, I'll be the quickest player there, and I'll just run past everyone in the second half. Not the case. Absolutely pumped. And I think I'll be on a few runs this week to try and get my fitness up, because it was a shocking performance from myself. Pedro, you were impressive in the first half. Second half, not so much. But yeah, let's hope that Scotland can put 90 minutes together today like we can yesterday, honestly. So we certainly won't be playing today. And Scotland, yeah, I'm just glad they didn't see us yesterday. We did the jersey a disgrace. Jersey a disgrace. We've got our own tops on today. New tops. They can all go in the bin. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair, Gabs. What a brilliantly scathing assessment of me, Roughie. Good first 45 minutes, second half disappeared. Simple as that. Anyway, listen, I can't argue with you, Gabriel, but I hope that's not the case for Scotland today. Predictions are not too far away. I'm going to read out so many people saying, well, Jim Ross has just said it. team looks as if the team could be getting announced shortly. Marshall, Henry, Hanley, Tierney, O'Donnell, McTominay, McGregor, McGinn, Robertson, Dykes and Adams is what Jim Ross has said. The team has been announced. Gabriel, are you hearing that right now? Has it come out on Twitter? The team is confirmed, because certainly that would suggest that there'd be a wee surprise there if Henry was in instead of Cooper, but maybe not. I mean, he likes, as you mentioned, the distribution. Are you getting a team announced at this minute?
No, I haven't got a team announced just yet. We're still refreshing Twitter, but we're waiting to see when it comes. We're expecting it in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Hopefully before we go off air. They have to hand them in just before an hour before kickoff. I'll let you know as soon as it officially comes through. Perhaps that is going to be the team, but we'll let you know when it does officially come.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, if Jim's nailed it, then brilliant. It would be a slight tweak in the back line, and that's the dilemma. We've only got those two major dilemmas because, as you said, Roughie, the two guys on the flanks pick themselves, the three in the midfield picks itself. It's just how he's going to put together the three at the back and whether it's, Christie or Adams.
Yeah, no, I think at the back, I think he was impressed by Henry. He's very comfortable on the ball. And let's not forget set pieces. If you look at a lot of the games here, a lot of them have been decided with set pieces. I think Hanley and Henry going up there will cause problems. If that's the two that's up front, I'm more than happy with that. I think Adams is a goal scorer, and so is Dykes, and I think the two of them can work off each other. And it gives them something to worry about, because if Adams is floating about, it makes it even difficult to pick him up. So, no, if that is the side, no problems with that at all.
Yeah, just before we get to the situation where we're going to give you our predictions, and we've been reading out as many predictions. Kathy Cunningham says 1-0 to Scotland. 2-0 to Scotland, says John Donald. McTominay Thunderbolt coming in. Incoming, says Doug Brown. So it looks as if that, Niall says, he reckons that is the team. So listen, it should be revealed very shortly on the UEFA website. Just confirmation, Gavs will give us that. But it looks as if Henry is going to get the start in this one, which in the back line. Are you happy with that, Roughie?
Yeah, I think so. We scored a goal. We don't get many centre-halves going up and scoring goals, particularly from a shot, maybe if you set pieces. But he's going to be up there or thereabouts. And I think he will cause trouble in the air at set pieces. No, as I say, this isn't a backs to the wall game for me. I'm hoping we have a lot of possession, and it's good if you get somebody at the back who's comfortable on the ball and can make passes and build up and go forward as well. As Tierney has proved, he can go forward as well and cause problems. No, I don't have a problem with that at all. If there's any balls coming into the box, I think these two big guys could handle it.
Yep, I'm just seeing brilliant pictures on the website of Scotland fans who've managed to get a ticket, are inside the stadium. We're not too far away from it. James Docherty says 3-0 Scotland, and lots of people are on the bevy. And Hugh says Marshall, Henry, Hanley, Cooper, O'Donnell, Robertson, McTominay, Armstrong, Christie and Dykes. No Tierney, he says, is a suggestion on Twitter as well. So clearly there's about 2 or 3 variations on the team, all doing the rounds. But until we get official confirmation, we can only suggest to you, because the way social media goes, all sorts of rumours and counter rumours. So it's better to wait and get the absolute confirmation from the Scotland camp on this. Predictions not too far away, but before we talk about the predictions, I have to just mention at this point, from PLZ Soccer, and I'm almost certain everyone in Scotland, our prayers, our best wishes to the Eriksson family. Christian Eriksson is a player that I think everyone wishes a speedy recovery, because to witness that game where he collapsed on the park against Finland for Denmark. He's by far Denmark's best player, Roughie, and of course to see him there collapsing, he needed CPR. It was a cardiac arrest. Thankfully, you could see the picture of him from the Getty images on the stretcher going off with his eyes open. He has actually posted messages of support to his teammates. He is obviously stabilised, and in a better condition, which, you know, for everyone, and it puts life in perspective, everyone wanted to see him make a full recovery.
Oh, I think for 20, 25 minutes after it happened, the emotional scenes from not only the Danish players, but from the Finnish players and supporters around the stadium, it was very, very emotional. And it just shows you, you know, that life and living has got a lot more to play in football. Even the people in the studio were affected by it. And for me, the scenes of his wife, you know, coming down to the touchline and obviously doesn't know how bad the situation is. It was a horrible, horrible occasion to witness, and unfortunately it looks a lot better than what we thought. You know, it was a horrible scene, seeing the screen round about him and all the players hoping that he was going to be okay, and let's hope he does. You know, we see more of him in the competition, because I think as he goes on he'll get better and better, and he could still play, not a big part obviously on the part, but a big part in the emotional thing of the whole competition. Yeah,
I must admit, you know, there are a few times where I've been involved in football reporting, commentating, where I've become emotional. I have to say I was very emotional watching that unfold. No surprise that many people shed a tear, because you just did not want to see you know, a player lose his life on the park, especially with his wife there, you know, and he's got kids. Whether he'll play again or not, I do not know, but he'll have the support of everyone, you know, from Inter Milan, even Lukaku posting a message, you know, right in front of the camera when he scored for Belgium. It was emotional, but I think everybody in Scotland wants him to get back to as healthy a position as he can, find out what the problem was, and then move on from there. But certainly, you know, he has been a superb ambassador for his country, and I'm told from many a player that he's such a likeable guy, Roughie. So, you know, here's hoping he makes that full recovery.
Yeah, I'm sure his teammates will echo that sentiment. They've still got the competition to play, and every time they walk onto that park, I think he will be the focal point of everything that they're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Big hi to Craig Lumsden, who's watching. Great to have you watching the programme, Craig. Hopefully you are well. Niall Kane says it brought back sad memories, Christian Eriksen, of Phil O'Donnell. And yeah, absolutely. I think that was the key issue. Everybody thinking of players. Mark Vivian Foe is another person who lost his life tragically playing football. And of course, you can, Fabrice Muamba from Bolton too, you can only at this point be happy that they were able to get on there quickly, provide the CPR, save his life, and we move on from there. Gabs is out there, not too far away from us giving our predictions. Gabriel, what about that starting 11 for Scotland?
Yep, a few surprises in there. First of all, that Kieran Tierney's not in the side. He's not even on the bench. So you've got to assume that there's an injury there. We didn't hear anything yesterday in the build-up. Perhaps it's in the warm-up, so we're not too sure. We'll bring you that as soon as it does come. Callum McGregor is dropped from the starting 11. He goes for Stuart Armstrong in midfield. Perhaps that's a sign from manager Steve Clarke. They want to be more attacking, of course. Armstrong in a more slightly advanced role than used. In terms of the back, you've got Liam Cooper coming in the place of Kieran Tierney. He's left-footed, the Leeds captain, so he'll slot in there. Grant Hanley will take up the central position, whilst Jack Handry, the ball-playing centre-half, does start. As we thought, Peter, he'll be the right-sided defender for Scotland. Czech Republic, 11 out of 11. So perhaps we should be reporting on the Czechs more, because we've got their team perfect and only 8 of the Scotland lineup correct. But Kieran Tierney will bring you more from that as we come. But quite an attacking lineup, certainly in the middle of the park from Steve Clarke, and he has plenty of firepower on the bench as well.
Yeah, I must admit it's a huge blow. No Kieran Tierney. From his quotes yesterday, Steve Clarke did mention, Roughie, that he had one major dilemma in the starting 11. No McGregor, he's gone for Stuart Armstrong. So you've got Henry, as Gabriel said there. You've got Hanley. You've got Liam Cooper, which makes perfect sense because he's a left-sided central defender. But Tierney, that's a major blow, Roughie.
It's a major blow from an attacking point of view. I mean, I've never seen a centre-half, an overlapping centre-half, and that's what he's been doing. Fortunately, we'll get Robertson in front of him, who should be doing most of that attacking. We've been hearing about McGregor's been playing far too many games, and he's looking a wee bit tired, which you would expect. So, you know, it'll be a blow to him, blow to the players, to the two players who have been left out, and they've been big players for Scotland through this tournament. But as we said earlier, you know, the players that will come in will have to stand up and be counted, and I'm sure they will be.
Yeah, big hi to Jamie Elwood, Martin Miller, Jim Lennon as well, watching. Lots of Scotland fans getting ready for the big build-up. We are fast approaching the end of our broadcast here because we are going to split up. Roughie, you'll go to your family, I'll go to mine. We'll be cheering on Scotland. We'll be hoping they can win this one. I have to say, it's not going to alter my opinion on how this game is going to pan out. The Czechs are a difficult side, and I think even with the team selection without Tierney, I still think from the middle to the front as well, we've got players that can hurt the Czech Republic. I'm going to go Scotland to win it by 1-0, and I'm going to go for one of the forward players to get the goal, either Dykes or Adams. I care not a jot, as long as it goes over the line. I'm going 1-0 Scotland. Gabriel, what's your take on it? Give us your prediction and why.
Just say I'm going for a Vic Scotland. As I said, they've not won any of the last 5 opening matches at the European Championships. They've never got out of the tournament or women's, but I think they will do that here. I'm going 2-0 goals from midfield, John McGinn and Stuart Armstrong.
Well, there you are. Gabriel is doing a grand job for us there. Just a slight break up on the feed, but thankfully Gabriel will be heading into Hampden, and he'll get us all the reaction after the match on that one. And of course we'll be back on tomorrow at 4 o'clock to give you our thoughts on the game. You can give us your thoughts as well. Don't forget, all you have to do is post your messages on Facebook. We'll be live on Twitter, Facebook, and of course on YouTube as well. Next season we'll be going exclusively live onto YouTube, so hopefully you can subscribe and don't miss that. And if you've got a chance, don't forget to download the PLZ Soccer app, because there's a little section called Submission where you can record your thoughts on today's game, and we'll be able to put them all together and use your video message on our programme tomorrow. So if you want to post a message to give us your thoughts on the game, just go and download the PLZ Soccer app. It's absolutely free to download. Click on submissions, record your video, submit it, and then we will put a collection of the Tartan Army. You could be on the show tomorrow giving us your thoughts on how you thought the match went, Scotland against the Czech Republic. Gabriel's optimistic. He thinks 2-0. I think 1-0 to Scotland. Last word, Roughie, to you.
I'm more than happy with 1-0, but like Gabriel, I'd be more than happy if it's 2. And let's hope we're not waiting until the 89th minute for that goal that we all hope we can get, because most of these games have been very cagey up for 45 minutes, and then the big goal comes in the second half. So let's hope we get it first. I'm sure the team will be confident, and I'm going to go for Adams as well to be the goal scorer.
Yeah, magic. Listen, Roughie's optimistic. When Roughie's optimistic, I'm optimistic, because for a couple of years there, he was in the doldrums. He was a pain in the backside with his negativity. But there's a new Roughie. It's a new Scotland. Thank you to all of you for joining us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Getting ready for the telly. It's on BBC One. You can choose your commentators, but hopefully they're describing over 90 minutes Scotland winning the game against the Czech Republic, which would set us up brilliantly for that match against England at Wembley. It's Euro 2020. Don't forget, you can subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. On Facebook, you can join in with our Fandex competition, where you can win yourself some cash prizes by playing our Euro 2020 contest. But today it's all about Scotland against the Czech Republic. To Steve Clark and the boys, we are sending our best wishes telepathically. Come on, Scotland, let's get the win. From everybody here on the Football Show, we'll see you tomorrow, 4 o'clock, Twitter, Facebook and YouTube on PLZ Soccer. Thanks for watching.